Have you heard of Nick DeMarco? Don't worry if you haven't, you're not expected to. It's not a new signing or anything like that. However, if you frequently check in on the West Ham news on a day-to-day basis, then you might have seen his name pop up quite a bit in the last 24 hours because according to reports, West Ham have hired him in order to aid Lucas Paqueta with his case brought to him by the FA over these betting allegations. Now, Nick DeMarco has won a few high-profile legal disputes with the Premier League. Of course, a different organisation. This is with the FA, not the Premier League. However, he's got a lot of experience in law in football and won. His latest highest profile win was with Leicester City, getting them to avoid a points deduction. 3 years ago, he played a big part in Newcastle United being able to get their takeover over the line with the Premier League. So he's won some big legal battles with the Premier League. And the reports were that West Ham, not Lucas Paqueta, West Ham have hired him. And I liked it. Now, since then, the club have denied this via Clavitt and Hugh. They said, no, that's not true. We haven't hired Nick DeMarco. But when the reports came out yesterday, when I seen the reports yesterday, it gave me... I believed it. And I still do. Because would West Ham... I appreciate West Ham have denied it, but it doesn't mean it's not true. It just means West Ham denied it. Would West Ham admit that they've hired him? I'm not so sure. I think when it comes to things like this, you want to keep as much as you can private and in-house. Maybe I'm being a bit naive there, but the reason I believed it and the reason I want to believe it is almost like a bit of a comfort blanket as a fan. Because as soon as this came out, obviously Lucas Paqueta assembles his legal team, the FA assembles their legal team, and the dispute and the battle is between those two, between Lucas Paqueta and the English FA. But there is a third party here, which is West Ham United. And whether Lucas Paqueta is guilty or innocent, he's one of the two, and then he will be found one of the two. It may not be the same answer for both, but that's what's going to happen. He's either done it or he hasn't, and then the verdict is going to be guilty or innocent. But there's another party, which is West Ham. The one thing we do know is that West Ham United have lost out on £85 million because he was due to join Manchester City last year. This has been confirmed by Karen Brady that he was due to join Man City. Everybody knew it. Everyone knew he was going to go. So we've missed out on £85 million. That is a lot of money that this allegation has cost West Ham. And off the back of this hearing, which is now supposedly set for March, that's another part of the news in regards to this Lucas Paqueta thing. The hearing will be in March. And I'm pleased, I guess. I think the sooner it's over and done with, the better. Because I think it's taken its toll on him, which is understandable. And that ain't going away until a verdict has been reached. And even then, there's still maybe more complications to come, depending on the outcome. And I think there's more to come for West Ham as a football club, regardless of the outcome, whether he's guilty or innocent. But set for March means that we've got the January transfer window. We're able to get somebody in on loan if we want to cover for that position. So if he is found guilty, we've got someone. But even pre-hearing, January to March, I'm not sure. I mean, I would question how much of a fit state he's going to be in order to play at the highest level. Like I said, giving him the benefit of the doubt at that minute in regards to his performances on the pitch, it would be that it's already starting to take its toll, and it has been for quite some time now. So what's it going to be like a couple of months out before the hearing? Nobody knows. I think having the January transfer window there is a good one from the club's perspective, but doesn't really change anything for Lucas Paqueta himself. So March is supposedly when it is. But I go back to why this gave me a little bit of hope and I wanted to believe it. It's because we've got to look after ourselves here. First of all, I think the club have to do everything to get Lucas Paqueta found innocent. Because it's in the club's best interest that that happens. Straight away he becomes hopefully a better player, but also becomes a valuable asset. And he is... There are humans there, and it's been discussed the mental health toll it will be taking on Paqueta. There was an article in Athletic earlier on this year in regards to Emerson and Paqueta. Bless him, Guilherme's been speaking about settling in at London and spoken about how important Emerson and Paqueta has been for him. And this is good news. But in regards to the playing side of it, to the club, he's worth a considerable amount of money. So they have to do what they have to do in order to try and get him found innocent. The best case scenario for the club is he's deemed innocent. Best case scenario for Lucas Paqueta is he's deemed innocent. And I think West Ham have to do their bit. But ultimately, the legal dispute is between Lucas Paqueta and the English FA. But doesn't mean West Ham should sit there and do nothing. Because regardless of this outcome, whether he's innocent or guilty, I think there's more to come on this one. And that is where I imagine West Ham will get involved. Because he's found innocent. West Ham, I don't know how this legal part works, especially. But I would imagine West Ham will get a case, turn around and say, right, okay, well, you've cost us 85 million, the English FA. But if he's deemed guilty, then they can turn around to Lucas Paqueta and say, well, you've cost us 85 million. We've been paying you all your wages all this time when you've done something illegal within sport. And we'd have a legal case against Lucas Paqueta. So when I seen that West Ham were getting somebody on board that is experienced, knows how everything works, and is successful at winning high-profile cases, I liked it. I thought this is good because we've got to prepare for both scenarios now at the club. And I've got no doubt that since this came out, 15, 16 months ago now it came out about Lucas Paqueta's betting allegations, I'd imagine the club, even before it hit the public news, the club were going around doing their own homework and seeing what's what. And so they should be. They'll be doing their own due diligence on this one. And this, to me, when it came out yesterday, I thought, well, this is good. This is us getting ready to protect us. Now, as a West Ham fan, I hope Paqueta's innocent. As a Lucas Paqueta fan, I hope Lucas Paqueta's innocent. But ultimately, if he's found guilty, I can't change that. But what I do hope is that the club do what they have to do in order to be compensated in this regards. What that looks like, I don't know. We will wait and see. But anyway, I guess it's part of, I said big news. I think there's possibly bigger news in regards to the Paqueta case, but that is some of the news that we've hired Nick DeMarco, but it has been denied by people at the club. The other news was Lucas Paqueta's lobbed his phone away. There's 2 more charges. The FA put that on top of what he's already been charged, and one of them was in regards to the phone. Now, when this came out, I'm unsure how much I believe it's new charges, because when we were first made aware of these allegations by the FA, part of the rules he had broken was in regards to preventing access to evidence or something like that. And we, at the time, was like, well, what is that then? Because apparently he's been cooperating from the word go. Now we're discovering it. So I don't think it's new charges. I think it's just clarification on ones that he'd already had. And the reports are that he handed his phone over to the FA. The FA gave it back to him. At a later date, he said, can we have your phone back, please? And he binned it and got a new one. And it all depends on... The problem with this is we don't know enough. Had he got returned and got told, don't do anything with that, we may need that later, and he's gone and binned it, then he's got a problem. But likewise, on the other hand, if the FA have said, there's your phone back, thank you very much, and Paqueta's gone and got a new one, and tough luck. That's the FA's fault for not being thorough in the first place. So I think it all depends on the stipulation in which he regained control and possession of his phone. But he's obviously going to go get a new one. I think most people would, but especially when you have that much money and you can afford to. But you've got to turn your phone over for what will be a large period of time. You're going to go get a new one in the meantime, aren't you? So I'd imagine he's perhaps just done that, and it's just once he's got his old one back, well, I don't need that one anymore. I've got this one. I don't know. I'm not reading too much into it because of the lack of clarification provided within these reports. But I thought the most interesting news was that West Ham have hired a top lawyer, although that's been denied by the club. Now I'm going to discuss about from getting banned for life to West Ham for life. I'm going to discuss Pablo Fornals for the next couple of minutes. But before we do that, just want to point in direction of this video's sponsor, Manscaped. Now, if you remember, a month or so ago, I confessed. When you're in your 30s, I think obviously, I'm literally just experiencing it. Well, I have been for a while. I've been in my 30s for a few years now. But my point is, you're in that period where you're not young anymore, but you're not quite old yet. You're in that period. And there's things that are happening that make you feel old. And as a result, sometimes you want to remind you're not that old just yet. So, I had hair coming out my ear. It wasn't like, it was just 1 or 2 strands. I thought, this is new, and I don't like it. So, I went and got the Weed Whacker review coming up. But the good news is, I haven't had to use it on my nose yet. I did, but nothing came out. There's no nose hairs yet. So, you know what I mean? Getting old, not getting old. I like it. I'm in the middle here. Anyway, the Weed Whacker I got from Manscaped for myself, because of those hairs in my ears. This tool does your hooter and your nose. All you do is insert it into the hole. Those ones, insert it into these holes, your nose and your ears, and just pop it on. And it trims the hair. Happy days. It's the Weed Whacker. It's been on there since we've been working with Manscaped, but I've just never had it. I've never needed it. But I've needed it now, so I went and got one myself, and can recommend. I've been recommending Lawnmower 5, but some people are a little bit uneasy with promotion of pube trimmers for some reason. I don't know why. The topic of pubes makes people go, no thank you, I can't listen to this. I didn't realise it was so offensive, so reading in a little bit and discussing nose hairs, as if that's any better. But the Weed Whacker generally is really good and does. I'd give you a demo, but you know, my ears don't work, so I've got things in my ears that are not just hairs, so it prevents it. There's a blockage, and no one wants to see me putting this up my nose while recording it. But can recommend the Weed Whacker. Now we got a little bit of a treat for you while you're shaving your hair off. We're shaving 20% off at Manscaped, but it covers every single thing on their website. So you've got the Lawnmower 5 for down there, got the Weed Whacker for up there, you've got the beard trimmer for on here, you've even got boxer shorts and ball deodorant as well. Everything covered for male grooming at Manscaped. Just go onto their website, or you can use the link in the description below and use the code HammersChatPubes, all one word. You will save 20% off everything, plus free shipping worldwide. So there you go. Get saving before you go shaving. I made that up once and Gonzo liked it and I liked it, so I'm sticking with it. Get. I've messed up now. Get saving before you go shaving. There you go, Manscaped. You can have that one for free. Right. Pablo Fornals did an interview with The Athletic. I absolutely loved it. I like good things. I like seeing people happy. It makes me smile when I see people being happy. When people are achieving something, I think, go on. Anyway, the article on The Athletic from Pablo Fornals, just full of positivity. And it's talking about a sad occasion, leaving West Ham United, but I read it and I thought I like this a lot. I do. It's very honest and it's very heartfelt. And he said in it, I'm a Cockney now. He really is, isn't he? The Spanish Cockney and all that. I absolutely love Fornals, but there was a couple of things in there, and it's very much confirmation bias. There's a couple of things in there. I was like, ha! Evidence of theory. The first thing is, Moyes didn't want him to leave. That's what he said. So when it came to departing in January, it was him that wanted to go because he wasn't happy with the lack of game time. But he goes on to say he understood why he had lack of game time, but he just wanted to play more. And Moyes couldn't guarantee him that football. So he felt the only way in order to get more game time was to leave West Ham. But he said Moyes didn't want him to leave. And I think this is important because back in January, obviously Benrahma left, while Kerr left, it perhaps wasn't as significant, but certainly Benrahma and Fornals left and no attacking option joined the club. And we went on to miss out on European football, get knocked out by Bayer Leverkusen, and there's always going to be that what if. Now, they're not all going to work out like Jesse Lingard, but if you look at our January signings in the past, sure, Callum Phillips was crap and Danny Ings, but Danny Ings was circumstantial. We brought him in because we're in a relegation battle, albeit so was Thomas Souček and Jared Bowen. But if you look at those January signings we've made recently, they've been bloody good. Bowen, Lingard, Souček, on the other hand, Phillips and Ings, but we've done all right in January. So had we brought one player in, you just never know. But Fornals just confirmed Moyes didn't want him to go, which to me confirms it was Steiden/Sullivan that decided to sell both players and not bring anybody else in. To some extent, I know people say, well, it doesn't mean that Moyes didn't prevent players coming in. I get that. But it was confirmation as far as I'm concerned. But he also confirmed what a lot of fans think, which is that Moyes had his 11. Fornals said it, trusted 11, and then he was part of that. Then he became part of Moyes' trusted 14. And he basically implied that when you're not in the starting 11, it's difficult to get into the starting 11. There was a lot of games where he was only getting 1 or 2 minutes, and there was big fixtures he was missing out on, and he wasn't happy. But he was full of praise for Moyes and said about how Moyes gave him a leaving speech in the change room on the last night, because obviously we played Bournemouth, didn't we? And he wanted to be in the squad, and the club said, not more, the club said, nope, not allowed, because we're trying to get rid of you. The bit that summed up West Ham, though, in the article was when he was heading home and all this talk about the transfer wasn't working, etc. It wasn't going through because of West Ham not implementing details onto the computer. So when he was trying to contact the club and see what was going on, he basically said, should I come into training tomorrow? And the response was yes. So even at like midnight on that transfer deadline, people at the club were advising Fornals, you probably just best come into training tomorrow, because I don't know if your transfer is going to go through. But if you haven't read it, if you've got access to The Athletic, I urge you to go read it, because his love for West Ham shines through. I think his love for David Moyes shines through as well. And I just love Pablo Fornals, to be honest with you. I really, and it's pleased to see him doing well over at Real Betis, and he speaks about how he's playing on the right-hand side, and he couldn't do that at West Ham because of Javid Bowen. And it's funny, isn't it? Because people will read it one of two ways, which is, this is proof as to why Moyes wasn't good at West Ham, this is proof as to why Moyes was good at West Ham. And for me, it's a bit of both. I think there was, like I said, he's only got his trusted 11. Not a great thing. It's all right if you're in it, but I don't think it's a good thing. But this is a guy that got kicked out the starting 11, but in his own words, and became part of the trusted 14 and had to leave for football. But yeah, he's not got a bad word to say about the manager. I like the interview, and you know, his kids still support West Ham and whatnot. And I hope one day there's maybe something else in the story of West Ham, Pablo Fornals. I don't know what that is. Maybe we'll play Real Betis or something. I don't know. I just hope there's, because he never got a goodbye, did he, Pablo? He never got a standing ovation one last time as he came off the pitch and stuff like that. And we may never cross paths, but he did say he would never join another English club. He said there was interest from a Premier League team, and he just couldn't do it because he didn't want to play and score against West Ham, so he would never join another Premier League team. And he says, not even Man City or Man U. And do you know what? I believe him. I think a lot of players, ex-players, could say that and go, yeah, right, we'll see if Man City come knocking, we'll see if you turn that down. But with Pablo Fornals, when I read that, there was no reaction of liar. I read it and thought, you know what? I quite believe him as well. I don't think he would join Man City. He really is a little Spanish cockney for now. But it's such a pleasant interview, so go read it if you haven't done so. Anyway, I'm going to leave it there. Because it's International Break, we always ask for people for their content ideas. So it could be topics, it could be a question, whatever. There's a community post on the channel. If you click on the channel, under this video it says Hamish Chat, click on that, go to community, there's a post there, just reply or email us, hamishchat@gmail.com. Myself and Gonzo will be sitting down over the next couple of days and recording as much videos as we can, going by the topics suggested by you guys at home. So if there's ever been a video thinking, I wish to do this, why don't they ever talk about that? Suggest it, and we will. Sorted. You're going to get the content you want to see over the next week. Usually, ironically, it brings people complaining. The last International Break, there's people in the video go, why are you discussing this? Even though at the start you explain the concept. But regardless, we're going to ignore those lot. We're going to ignore them. And for you that have certain content you want to see on Hamish Chat, get involved. We'll record it, we'll discuss it, and we'll pop it up over the next few days. But thank you very much for joining me on this video. I think it's good news, really. Paqueta getting charged isn't good news, but the updates I don't think is necessarily a bad thing. Please do drop a like on it before you disappear by clicking thumbs up. Subscribe to Hamish Chat. Catch you tomorrow.